simple little basket here. It's called a flag basket. I laid this out in my famous XT and in between. So I do 1, 2, 3, always has a split, and 4. This is my T. So I have X, T, straight down and 1 across. And then if I was doing a bigger basket, there would be in between each one, but not today. This is just a flag basket. It's simple. It's been very popular. And so let me show you how I do this. It's a wonderful garden, holds garden flags. I use a rag handle on it so it can be hung at any angle people want. I'm using a number 2 round weed to twine with. This is 28 inches of 1/2 inch flat. As I stated, I find the center of each one. Number 3 is always my split. It's just a habit, I never forget. I split it before I even start laying things out, because who can split when you've got all this stuff laying around? And I twine around. I actually have about 20 inches of 22 inches maybe of number 2 round weed. Soaked well. I just want the tightest little circle so that I can. This is a really small basket. It's not going to be more than 3 inches in diameter. It is 12 inches tall, so if you're using quarter flat, you're going to be at this a little bit. Not a long time, but well, let's say 12 times 4, 48 rows. What I do often is I start these, and when we're going on a long trip, or if I have a demo or something I'm doing, I have these started. I have the first row on them, and then I sit and weave. And it's a good way to use my time when I'm traveling, and it doesn't take up a lot of space. So that's my trick of the day. Now this basket goes up immediately. I go to my split, right there at the split. Tail's stuck beyond it. I haven't trimmed these yet. I will when I come back around. I just don't need that noise right now. I'm trying to make those cuts. So I'm standing it up immediately. Stand up half of them the first time around, half the second time around. You're going to end up with basically a small quiver. But my friend Cindy Wood needed flag baskets, she calls them. I didn't name them that. And now is a good time to just nip these off because they're going to get in the way of my standing the next setup. So here we go. A very, very small turnaround. I also will lay this down on its side and mark 11 3/4 because I only want it to be a maximum of 12 inches with my rim. And instead of checking it all the time, I'm just going to measure now, make a mark, and when I get there, stop. Now I can write on my things with a pen because I paint all my baskets. But if you're not painting, be careful, use a pencil. Okay, let's see. So, boy, that one I didn't have very well centered. I didn't mark my centers. That's 12 inches. Well, let's go with 11 3/4 then. Like I said, somewhere in that ballpark, right there. Matter of fact, this one's short. So if you're going to pull something, now's the time to do it. So what I'm going to do is just cheat this thing and pull the piece through the bottom because my center mark was off, and try to find that length again. Oh, what have we got here? We have out there. These aren't precise. They're got a whole little garden flag. So yeah, but if you need to make adjustments, now's the time to do it. So I'm going to go away and weave this basket, and I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Well, I thought of this while I was weaving, and I wanted to mention it. You'll see this whole bunch of little elastic full of 1/4 inch flat. I start these baskets at the beginning of a work day, and after I've rimmed a number of pieces, or I've used a lot of 1/4 inch flat or 7mm, whichever I'm weaving with, I band them together or for another day, or I have this basket started and I simply weave the ends as I go, and that way I don't have the scrap laying around all over the place. And it's a really nice solution to a scrappy problem. You're not cutting new pounds of reed to weave these. So there you go, another tip for today. Well, it's morning. I have left these until today because I found with so many rows and them being damp that they are loose, pretty loose. This one's still wet, so it's not as loose. And this one I've tugged a little bit, but this is my favorite thing to do, and I do it first thing in the after they've dried. Pull on these. You're not seeing a lot of difference, but let's try. This one's a little drier. And if I pull, let's see, let's pull the outside one. This. Like, trust me, these are tightening up as I pull. I like to pull as opposed to doing this. If I have to do this, I will, but I don't want them to twist after I'm done. So I'll do that to all of them. Stick the top in a bucket of water so it's easier to pull. Had too many marks on that one. I also will use a spray bottle if I can't get my fingers on something. Just keep the spray bottle handy. And the last one, that one's not too bad. It's still damp though. There, pull, pull. The ones on the bottom of the inside pull the easiest. So I am going to bend these over. They've already been tapered and set up a rim. I'm sure you all know how to do that. 2 pieces of 3/8 flat. I save all my scrap for this kind of stuff, and I'm going to use, I have a lot of this kicking around. This happens to be like a 3/16 flat oval in the bucket. Makes a nice little lacer. So I'll show you pictures when we're done. Thanks for watching. While I was making my posy, I decided you guys needed a twofer. This is just woven the first 14 rows with 1/4 inch flat, made just like the flag. But at the 14th row, I do this because I want to create a posy basket. And so each time around, I'm using 7mm because it goes up a little faster. I'm going to make this 10 inches tall. I'm flaring on every time I go around. I keep my finger in here and I make this flare out. And the split, of course, is going to be the back. These are 4 pieces, 26 inches long. They're a little shorter than the flag because the posy is only going to be 10 inches tall when it is done. I found this 7mm, and it's a little on the stiff side, which is a good thing because we are going to be our pieces are going to be so far apart that a little bit of extra won't hurt. So it's a little harder to weave out here, so I'll get back to you when my arm's stretched out. But I'll get back to you as soon as I get all the way to the top. I'm going to make my mark from here to 10 inches and stop then, and I'll show you what happens. So here you are. I finished it. And while I was doing that, I made sure this was my center. See my little mark between these two here. And I was squeezing it a little bit to get it to get the shape. The other thing I do is when I'm bending my pieces over the top, I bend both ways because it's so far between them that I need the support of the ones bent outside, and I try to trim them. So here's my version rimmed, Here it is. And I call it a posy because I think it would look good hanging on the wall with, oh, it's a little crooked. But anyway, hang on the wall with some stems of flowers. It'll look good also hanging off a peg or the front door, about anywhere you can think of. So there you go. If you need a gift for someone, take them a handful of posies or a basket full of posies. Now I'm going to look at making this thing into a larger posy, per my customers asked. And the other thing I'm going to do at some point is to try to work this up into cornucopia. I know people are asking for cornucopias and it's only May. Hopefully it'll go well. See you soon. Keep weaving.